Welcome back, everybody, to Podcast Combat Sports. I'm your host, Frank Palumbo from Plattsburgh, New York, and this week I have a bit of a different episode. I spent some time back home on Long Island over the weekend, so I figured I would talk to my number one fan, grandmother of 6, my mother, Nancy Palumbo. So it's basically just me, my wife Jill, and my mom sitting around, and I turn on the fights and playing the prelims for UFC 198. So I figured, hey, I'll just start recording, and this is what we got. And we get off topic a lot, but we kind of find our way back up until about the end. So enjoy, and stick around for the end, because in the closing, I'll go over the upcoming schedule and what we got coming up next week. All right, I'm recording. Ma, what's on TV?
Some matches.
What, wrestling matches? Boxing
No,
match?
MMA.
Yep. Do you know what MMA stands for?
Something martial arts. I don't know. Something martial arts.
No, you're right. It's mixed martial
Mixed
arts.
martial arts.
Do you understand the rules for mixed martial arts?
Yeah. Every man for himself. What do you think?
Like, what do you think when you watch it?
Oh, it's wrestling to me.
Like,
Wrestling.
when you look at it, like, do you ever think of like boxing? Because I know Dad watched boxing all the time.
Well, yeah.
Well, not all the time, but basically.
Yeah, it looks more like they're boxing.
Because
It doesn't have like moves exactly like wrestling does. It's more boxing, I think.
Well, I mean, this particular match, and this one is.
And it looks like part kickboxing.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they call it mixed. The fight right now is Lineker versus Font at from this past weekend, and it's third round, and they're standing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when I explain mixed martial arts to people, I tell them it's like boxing, except the format is like boxing. You have one fight at a time, and that there's wrestling and kickboxing involved.
Right.
That's the rule set.
Huh. Well, they have boxing gloves. Do they have boxing gloves on too?
No, those
What are they?
they're fingerless gloves so that they can grab and grapple,
Oh.
but they're padded. So they're about 4 ounces as to where boxing gloves for the lighter weight classes are maybe 10 ounces.
Right.
And for I think the heavyweights might use 12 or 14 ounce boxing gloves for professional. These are about 4 ounces.
Now it looks like wrestling. Because he's got that guy down.
What do you think of the cage?
Well, it looks a little safer, actually. Why? What about the cage?
Oh, a lot of people think it looks like dog fighting.
It perpetuates
No.
the ideal of...
Which, it's... Yeah, like...
It looks
the big
basically for safety. That's what I think of when I see the cage.
It is. If you've seen people fall through boxing ropes after they get concussed, and then they fall off a 4-foot stage... Yeah, but just the look of the cage, people... people who are new to it, they think it's bad because it's like and it was marketed as like 2 people get locked in a cage, only one's coming out. Well,
now that's violent.
the ground and pound.
That guy's punching him in the face. Oh my God.
When you watch this, can you picture Frank doing this?
Um,
What are you co-hosting now?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
even Steve, like when Steve was doing it.
was doing what?
MMA?
Well, Steve did
Oh,
kickboxing.
Steve did kickboxing, sorry.
Yeah, he did kick. Yeah, don't scare me. No. I don't know. I think a lot of times, I think when your brother started wrestling, when he was wrestling in high school, middle school, I think, and then you came along and you did it. I think it was good because, as two brothers, doing the same sport. I think
we both did soccer.
I think you pushed yourself more. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Then,
I mean,
what about them doing this? What about?
I don't like this.
I mean, I know.
It doesn't.
I know
To
that
me,
you
it
were
doesn't have
worried.
any set.
I know you were worried about his safety, but like, if you disregard your concerns regarding in being able to support his family and all of that, like, just go down to the raw competition element of it. What are your feelings of, like, when Frank was in the cage and he called you and he said, "Oh, Mom, I just won," or whatever?
I know. I worried every time.
that's why I didn't tell you.
I know. You think I'm stupid?
I don't want you
know
to
that
worry.
You kept on going.
What kind of son would allow his mother to worry? So I just didn't tell you.
No. Why should I worry? You only have
Yeah,
a
why
wife
should
and
you
3
worry?
kids.
At the time, I only had 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You didn't have 3 at the time?
No, she was pregnant with the third one.
Oh, there we go. So that means-
When I was pregnant with Ella.
That means 3 to me. So,
Do you remember the name of Steven's kickboxing coach?
no. Nor do I want to remember it.
Mike Corleone?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mike Corleone.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wasn't he at the hospital when you met?
Yeah,
Steve there?
they were all there.
Yeah,
Idiots.
what happened?
What happened?
What happened to Steve? Tell the
I'll
story.
tell you. I'll tell you.
We will call this.
They were right there.
We
and
will call this Why Nancy Palumbo hates kickboxing and MMA.
So what happened? You get a phone call or what? Or
We got a phone call from your brother.
Did-
He was in the hospital.
Did he talk to Dad or did he talk to you?
I think he talked to your father.
So it was Steve that actually called? Steve spoke on the
He
phone?
called, said that he was in the hospital, and your father said, "Come on, we got to go." This was like 9 o'clock at night. And I said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "Well, Stephen got hurt. I think he broke his leg or something. What do you call it? Doing practice over at this, at this place that he was
KO
practicing
Boxing?
for the kickboxing."
KO Boxing, Mike Corleone.
So him, his coach, and this other guy was there. And I said, "Okay, are you happy now? Are you happy? Have I told you not to do this?" No. Now you get a broken leg. Wonderful.
All right, I got a different story from Mike Corleone.
Yeah. What did he say?
He said that you yelled at him.
I did.
I believe that.
Because I had it up to here.
And just because I want it on the recording, because I'll probably release this. My brother had just won his second kickboxing fight, and was matched up for a third one a couple of weeks, maybe about a month later. And I assume he was stepping up his training, so he went to kick. He was sparring with his trainer, Mike Corleone. He goes to kick him, and anyone knows that. Anyone who's listening knows that when you get kicked, you check the kick, which is basically you block it with your knee, because you're not going to block it with your arms or your hand.
Of course not.
Because what someone will do is that they'll kick you in the leg a couple times. When you go to grab it, they redirect it, they'll kick you in the head. Mm-hmm. So you keep your hands up to cover your head, your elbows to cover your body, and your knees to protect your legs.
Mm-hmm.
So he checked the kick, and Steve broke his shin bone, tibia. Just broke it right in half like a freaking stick. So then when I was talking to Steve, I'm like, "Steve, why weren't you wearing shin pads in practice? And he's like, I was. So it was Steve who kicked way too hard for practice. You shouldn't be kicking that hard, especially someone that is more than likely going to check the kick.
Yeah, but you say that's a perpetual problem is people don't know necessarily how to pull back in practice.
I'm saying Steve doesn't know how to pull back in practice. I know that from experience. Fucking he used to. I mean, the few times I ever wrestled with him in practice, God, he was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
But anyway, so.
And as I was yelling at them, there was an old lady and her two sons sitting across from us, and they were both going like this.
Both
Nodding.
Yes,
the slow
I was
nod of
right.
approval.
I said, "Are you crazy? Are you crazy doing this ridiculous kickboxing?" And the two of them are going.
Did you watch any of Steve's fights?
No.
Oh yeah, because that second one, the second one he won was right before Fran's wedding.
Yeah.
And right after is when he got his cast on.
Yeah, right after.
Was the second one the one you cornered him?
No, I never cornered him.
Did something, because then you made fun of him for eating Chinese food after going to weigh-ins.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was that fight. I was hanging out with him all day.
It's okay.
You know, I figured like, I don't know, he might want to, get out some nervous energy, and like, so I'm like, oh, I'll just be there, because I was home for the wedding anyway. So I'm like, I'll just be there, if he wants to, kick some pads or hit some mitts or something, and I'll just hold for him. Be there. And yeah, so he weighs in, and then he orders he orders Chinese food. His signature, which is chicken and broccoli, no broccoli. And he sits at his table and he's eating Chinese food, and I'm like, Steve, I know you already paid for it, but why are you eating Chinese food? You're gonna fight in like a couple of hours. He's what? It's just chicken.
With no broccoli.
Yeah, with no freaking broccoli, but it's like, it's fried.
flavoring.
Oh my God, it's got to be the worst fucking thing for you. Of course, he goes out and like, not only does he gets to the point where he's toying with the kid, the ref stopped it because the kid just had no answer.
Thank God that's over. He learned his lesson.
For now.
So, yeah, do you remember when I first called you and told you I was fighting?
Yeah.
That was right after your first brawl, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I called Dad.
That was the big mistake. Because whatever he told you, he was probably yelling at me saying, "You better get him to stop doing this crap."
Yeah, right after it was over, I went back and I called you. Because you were always there for when I was wrestling, so I was like, oh, she'll love this. It'll give her a
Yeah, I
chance.
loved it all right.
She'll come visit more, at least 4 times a year when I fight.
Yeah.
And she'll be the loudest one in the audience. But, no, you
God.
Well, I told you I was getting paid for it, and you seem to not mind.
You were getting paid for it?
Yeah, in
How?
the beginning.
When he was first fighting for the brawl, they had this, it was...
No, they would pay
what
us.
do we call it? Like semi-amateur?
Well,
Maybe you told me after you won. Then
Yeah.
it was okay. But I didn't really want you to do it. It's dangerous. It's all dangerous.
They were able to pay because Vermont had lax
they had no regulation.
regulations, yeah. So, what would you would make pretty good money for those, not like good money, but like...
Now, didn't you at some point say that down here you can't do that?
Oh, you can.
What was the thing?
Well, in New York State, professional was not legal or sanctioned or regulated. But after more scrutiny, they kind of found a loophole in the laws. so that amateur was, legal, but it wasn't regulated. So what they would do is, USA Wrestling, we would have to get that insurance card every year.
Yep.
Well, they have other associations that are like that. So there's one called
One of them's like the karate.
yeah, I think it's USKTA, U.S. Sport Karate Association. I probably threw an extra letter in there somewhere. But there's a sport, so there's sport karate. Mm-hmm. There's U.S. Muay Thai Association. Yeah, that's probably where I got the T from. So what they would do is they're a sanctioning body, and they would regulate the events. Mm-hmm. But they're not required to have those. So if I wanted to go to the Italian club and put up a cage, I could do that and just have people come in and fight and then leave. And you're not required to get insurance or anything like that.
Have an EMT on hand.
Yeah,
people turn in paperwork saying they're healthy.
Yeah, you have to get a blood screening and a physical. And the last fight I had to get what's the
heart one?
Yeah.
I can't remember. MRI?
No, not an MRI. What's the thing for the heart? I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, I'll just edit this out and make me sound smarter.
Do that.
So you're not required to do that. But the professionals on TV, actually, I think it was New Jersey, they came up with the unified rules where you have to have blood work, you have to have a doctor on site, you have to have this and that.
One of them you had to have a CAT scan. I think it was New Jersey.
I never had a CAT scan. I don't think to this day I've ever had a CAT scan.
That was one of the things we talked about, you fighting an EKG.
Yeah, EKG. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think because I was over 30, so they're like, any fighters over 30 could have an EKG. But that was in New Hampshire.
Yeah, and we talked about you fighting in New Jersey, but you had to have a full CAT, I think, even for amateur, and that was just price prohibitive. But all of that stuff doesn't have to be done.
Yeah, well, anyway, it was just basically passed that there's going to be sanctioning. So the New York State Athletic Commission is now going to sanction the events.
Oh, really?
Yeah, professional events.
So now
amateur events are still not going to be sanctioned, to my knowledge.
But if you're intelligent, you look for a promoter who does all the same things.
Yeah, so you could literally hold a fight anywhere you wanted.
Yeah.
As long as, as long as it was okay with, you're not trespassing. So, for Plattsburgh, it has to get okayed by the
City council.
The city council. And of course, they're going to ask all questions. They don't want alcohol served. They want to make sure that, pretty much alcohol. I think that's the only thing that they wanted. I went to that meeting, and that was the thing that they seemed most concerned about.
I think because of the violence of the sport, they were worried about people in the crowd becoming worked up if they were drinking.
Could be. Mm.
Well, the first fight I went to, they had a doctor on site. Actually, I was nervous going in. I figured I was just going to go in and wrestle and maybe throw some punches. But I was nervous. But then after the rules meeting, it was like, oh, this is good. They tell you everything that they're looking for.
Right.
So if someone is getting punched, they're looking for people's eyes. So the person that's getting punched, if their eyes roll or if they just turn away, then they're just going to stop it. So I felt a lot better after that rules meeting.
I think going into it, you were really pampered by the fact that the ball was just run super well.
Yeah, it was.
And
he paid guys.
And he made all the right accommodations with having, medical staff on hand and the paperwork and,
It was at the Memorial Auditorium, and it was
judges
packed.
And good refs and
I'll say this:
what they were doing.
my first amateur fight, where I got a knockout by basically knee strikes to the head, which you're not allowed to do anymore.
Yeah, thank God.
But, I mean, there must have been a quarter of the people at the Memorial Auditorium than there was in Iowa.
Yeah.
And, it was like a standing ovation. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. It was fast, though. It was a fast fight, and I think it was maybe one of the faster ones of the night.
Well, I think it was the first exciting one for the night, because I was like I was like third on the card. And I think there was like heavyweights ahead of me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at amateur level, you might get, boring, because nobody knows how to freaking fight. They're learning. It's like, think of middle school wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
The first fight, the first match of the year, they've only been practicing for 4 weeks, and they had to learn the sport of wrestling. They're not good. First time.
Well, no.
The new kids, they're terrible, but they're learning.
Practice.
So I kind of figured it was similar with, amateur MMA, but they match you up with people with similar experience levels.
No, a good promoter matches you up with people with similar.
Well, that kid had college wrestling experience.
Do you remember that boy from Rochester?
Which one?
I don't remember his name.
What did he do?
It was at Iowa when, what do you call it? He was disabled.
Oh, he was from
Rochester.
Rochester. What?
The college.
RIT?
Oh,
Yeah.
Matt Hamill.
Oh, Matt Hamill was at Iowa at the same time you were.
I
No.
will never forget that match.
Which
Never.
match?
It was with the guy that was disabled.
How was he disabled?
He had no legs.
So that's not Matt Hamill. Matt Hamill was from RIT, but he was deaf.
Oh, okay. No, this one he had. Oh my God.
That was Ackerman. I can't remember his first name. He was from Iowa, 2001. It was Nick Ackerman. He was a double below the knee amputee. I can't remember the college. I think it was Simpson College in Iowa. And
He was from RIT.
no, Mom, he's not. He was from Simpson, Iowa.
Oh, he was a national Simpson College, yeah.
And to my knowledge,
He was
the
a
only.
national champion
He
Yeah.
was.
for 2001.
And I never ever forgot when that kid wrestled the other boy. Oh my God! When he won,
It was fucking nuts.
you couldn't even hear yourself. It was so loud. People were screaming, clapping. I never heard it. It was deafening, actually.
This Simpson.edu article on him says it would also be remembered as the greatest moment in the history of collegiate athletics.
I took pictures of him. I've
Well,
got pictures of him.
I'll tell you this. I think the guy who got the most outstanding wrestler award for Division I was Cale Sanderson that year.
Okay.
And after the season, they award. It's basically the Heisman. It's called the Dan Hodge Trophy. Cale Sanderson gets the Hodge Award, and Ackerman was a co-recipient. So they both got the Dan Hodge Award, and he's the only Division III wrestler to maybe even be in the conversation.
Can I just side note this with, did you know that Frank had the name Kale on our name list for Francesco?
I thought you had it.
Well, I liked it when you said it.
Oh yeah, I brought it up because I was going through all different wrestling names. Like, oh, let's just name him Gable.
Gable.
Gable Palumbo.
There's a kid out there who's ranked very, very high in high school wrestling,
he is.
and his name is Gable. I can't remember his last name.
Oh, well. It's interesting. It's an interesting name.
He turned out to become a certified prosthesis.
I'll bet he did. He was.
Works with the American Prosthetics and Orthotics in Davenport.
He was very when he put on the prosthesis. He was very tall. Remember?
Yep.
That was an unbelievable match.
And the kid he beat was a national champion from the year before. So he beat a defending national champion. I think he was from Minnesota, though. That's why everybody was for him. Yeah, Nick Slack.
He had a 60-match winning streak.
Wow. Well,
13-11 in the final match of the Division III.
That guy took him down.
Ackerman scored so many points in that first and second period with turns that Slack couldn't catch up, and he went for it in that third period, but he couldn't get it. Ackerman he was holding on, and when you're wrestling someone that's completely different than anyone else you've ever wrestled, it's hard. It's hard to improvise.
How about that boy over in Great Neck that you were wrestling and you put nail polish on? He thought he was going to scare you. I forget that.
Well, he was weird, but that was...
the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Medal of Courage. The Hodge Trophy.
Oh, yeah?
That's all. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all.
I kept reading.
He's just a Hodge Trophy winner.
No.
Yeah, he deserved it. That was some match.
So,
it's an interesting article.
Back to me.
Oh, yes, it's all about you.
It's all about me.
It's all about him. Tell your mother how we spent Mother's Day.
What Mother's Day?
Where were you? What did you get for Mother's Day?
What did I get for Mother's Day?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Mother's Day was on a Sunday. I was home on Sunday.
Yeah, but where were you on Saturday?
I was in Connecticut.
Where were you on Friday?
I can't remember.
Connecticut? What were you doing there?
There was a fight at Mohegan Sun. I didn't fight in it. I watched it.
There's a Bellator event. So Mother's Day weekend, he goes and hangs out in Connecticut.
Yeah, I left her alone all weekend.
Isn't that nice of you? Maybe that was your present.
Yep.
That was absolutely her present. Really?
Oh,
yep.
God.
Did you hear me complain at all on Saturday?
No, because you weren't there.
That's right.
It is the Frank Show.
What did your sister used to call you when you were little?
I don't know.
Think about it.
I'm going to edit this out. You know that.
I don't care. I forgot you were even doing that. What did she used to call you?
I don't know. Like, which thing? Like, she probably called me a million things.
She called you one specific name.
Think of it.
Think of what it was when she would call you.
Did she call him it when she would be crushing his nuts?
No. What do you call when, say, she was upstairs and he was downstairs. She'd call him, and what would she call you?
I don't know.
Frank.
Oh.
Frank.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
You forgot that?
Did you block?
You ask her tomorrow.
I think he blocked it from his memory.
Well, maybe, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He really likes to torture me by telling me stories about how Fran used to, like... she used to wrestle him and Steve and then, like, stomp on their junk to, like... change
She was a mean girl.
Just to get control over the TV. I don't know.
You know who she reminded me of?
Oh, no.
You know Little House on the Prairie?
She reminded you of the girl with the blonde hair and the...
Yeah!
Nellie?
Nellie! Nellie.
She wasn't quite as mean, but she could be.
She had that streak.
She had that streak.
Oh.
So, do you know any famous MMA fighters?
Yeah, you.
Besides me. All right, let's work.
What was that
let's
woman?
work our way from the top down.
Who was the woman?
Besides me,
With the blonde hair.
Oh, that one.
She's famous now?
Yeah, I know. I want to see if See if I can give you a hint. Her nickname is Rowdy.
It does nothing for me.
Ro-
Just
Rhonda?
Rhonda?
Yeah. She lost her title.
Oh, she did?
Oh yeah. Yeah, this girl was a world champion boxer, and then she switched to kickboxing. She was a world champion kickboxer. Then she switched to MMA.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the most attended MMA event ever with 70,000 people.
Jesus.
And nobody gave her a chance. She was like I don't know, maybe a 10-1 or 8-1 or something underdog. I mean, she beat the hell out of Ronda, and then she kicked her in the head, basically from behind.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kicked her in the head, and when she fell, she fell hard like a tree.
Oh man, the memes
Her
that
head
came
bounced.
after that.
Ronda was a very abrasive personality.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's like Fran on steroids.
Oh, stop it.
Friend's
She's
not
like
that
Nelly
bad.
on steroids, but can actually kill people if there wasn't a ref to
God.
stop it. So
Anything like these two? Oh my
No.
God.
No, like
no, if it was Ronda, it would be over by now.
yeah,
Yeah?
and like pre-fight, she talks a lot of shit.
Mm.
I mean, she's no Conor McGregor, but
What are you giving her names for?
oh, sorry.
Have you heard of Conor McGregor?
No.
All
Who's
right,
that?
they got to stop this fight. This is ridiculous. This guy's literally falling all over the place.
Did
Of
you
course,
watch this
it's
last week?
it's Dan Mergliotta. I mean, you have to he'll check your pulse before he stops the fucking fight.
Sorry, keep going.
No, he's still warm.
Was he reffing that one we watched the other day, last week? That I was like, this is just painful to watch.
I don't remember that.
And we were saying that they should have stopped it much earlier.
I don't remember.
This is brutal. This should not happen.
Well, if it was a good ref, it would.
See the guy on bottom. He's falling over while he's standing up, but while he's on the ground, he's doing quote unquote the right things. I mean, look, he got himself up, so maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. If you're stumbling over like that. So this guy Conor McGregor is an Irish fighter. He's very skilled. He's my weight class, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And my fight weight class.
Oh.
He gets inside people's heads, and he's excellent on the microphone and promoting. So probably the highest grossing fighter, or he's at least close to it.
Really?
Yeah. But he got beat recently, but he bumped up 2 weight classes.
Yeah.
He won the world championship at 145 pounds. They immediately set him up with the 155 champion.
Yeah.
But the guy he was supposed to fight got hurt and pulled out of the fight.
Oh.
So the only replacement they could find on a week and a half notice or 2 weeks notice was he's like, well, I can't make 155 pounds, but I'll do it at 160. So then he was like, no, we'll just fight at 170. So he gets beat. He gets beat by this kid from California who him and his brother they have now hit legend status.
Yeah.
Because they're their persona is like street thug, and they're both excellent fighters. So now it's now they're basically the center of the sport
No.
Again.
Well,
They'll go down too.
Nick Diaz was the center of the sport when he was fighting George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
But
I think I saw something on Facebook that Pierre's
coming back,
be on the Olympic team for Canada.
he could have made the Olympic team
No,
in
for
wrestling.
real. I'll pull up the.
No,
thing.
I get it, but he's not going to make
He
the
said
Olympic
something
team.
about thanking some bakery for making him some bread for his birthday while he's training for the Olympic team.
Well, honestly, if he does, I would be super impressed.
I mean, isn't he kind of old? I don't know. I always get the feeling from you that Olympic, like he's like a little bit younger than, isn't he like 32, 31?
I think wrestling prime is somewhere around 28.
Yeah,
26.
I always get the feeling from you that if you're gonna do the Olympics, you do it like right after college.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any chance to repeat, then you do it 4 years later.
Yeah.
But few people have been able to make Olympic teams into their 30s.
Yeah, so I mean, that alone would be impressive, I should think. I don't know. What's the Canadian Olympic wrestling team look like?
Canadians are very good.
Okay, so.
But the Olympics right now, I don't fully understand all of the, like how you qualify nowadays you have to compete internationally to qualify your weight class.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have 6 weight classes.
So he's like 35 because he was born in like 1981.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Honestly, if there's anyone who can do it,
Sam.
that's not a bred wrestler, it's him.
Yeah.
But I mean, Canada's tough. But they also get a lot of Russians.
In Canada?
Yeah.
Things I never knew.
There's a Russian coach at TriStar that's his wrestling coach and does all those classes there.
Okay.
I honestly, I've
You
heard his
haven't done
name,
that
I've
class
heard his
yet.
name a dozen times.
Here, I'll read you the post. Thanks to the YMYWHA Montreal Jewish Community Center's bakery for the delicious bread they gave me as a birthday present during my Olympic wrestling training. So maybe he already made the team.
If he had made the team, I would have heard about it by now.
I'm just saying, this is Facebook, this is his Facebook. This is like the real his Facebook.
Well, the Olympics are in, July?
Yeah.
So he may still yet to qualify.
He also does.
But he has no international experience.
Do you need international experience?
You have to qualify the weight class, and then you have to be selected by your country to go that weight class.
Well, I'm sure if he's good enough, the country of Quebec is going to fucking support it because...
Honestly, that would be awesome for Olympic wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely would bring in... I mean, it seems to be the opposite way the Olympic wrestlers go to MMA instead of,
When we went to the, the dinner the retirement dinner for Panache.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were standing around talking, and did I tell you what Mr. Mignani said
What?
about you?
Oh, no.
He said to me, I will never forget one thing about Frankie. I said, what? He said, when he was in middle school and he was your coach,
Mm-hmm.
he said that he had a match and he was winning and he had this kid, down. He had the points. So when they, when he walked back to the to his coach.
Break in the match?
Yeah, there was a break in the match, and Mignani said, "Okay, Frank, just keep him down. Just don't go crazy." So Frank turned around and said,
Oh, boy.
"Mr. Mignani, I'm not going to do that." So Mr. Mignani said to me, I looked at him and I said, "What do you mean, Frank?" So he says, "I want to wrestle." And he goes, "I never forgot that." And I tell
first, you last.
And I tell that to all of my because he has summer classes for kids.
Yeah.
And he says, I tell that story to all of my kids. I said, good.
Does anybody here want to go fast?
Oh my God.
All right, I just Googled GSP on Olympic wrestling, and everything's from like 2010 and 2012.
Okay.
You'll just have to.
Ma,
call
do you know
and
who
ask
George
him.
St. Pierre is?
George St. Pierre. No. Who is it?
Well, we kind of been talking about him for the last couple of minutes.
Yeah.
He's a Canadian who is a UFC champion, a long-time UFC champion.
He's out of
He never
Montreal.
he never wrestled. He took karate while he was coming up, but once he got into mixed martial arts, he took the weight class by storm. When he first got his first title fight, he lost, but then he came back and he destroyed the guy to take the title, and then he lost the next one. But then when he won it back, he held on to it until he retired. So now, like, he's one of the best wrestlers in MMA, but he never wrestled before MMA. So it's all wrestling for MMA training. So yeah, he was toying with the idea of trying out for the Olympic team.
Really? How old is he?
He's 35 now, so
No.
probably at 30.
Yeah, he's 35. Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh,
that
my
was
God.
when was the last Olympics? 2012. Yeah.
So let's see.
31.
Have you ever heard the name Hoist Gracie?
No.
How about Chuck Liddell?
No.
Like George St. Pierre's kind of a big deal to us too because like he's out of Montreal. Frank's gone up and trained at his gym.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Right there.
Yeah, it's like right over
Yeah,
the
but aren't
Canadian
you-
border.
He's French
Aren't you a coach now?
Not anymore.
taking a step back?
No, but don't you coach for the
Wrestling?
the kids
Yeah.
for the wrestling? Yeah.
Yeah, I go there every once in a while.
He's going to TriStar often.
Actually, I haven't been back since the summer.
I know.
Last summer. Let's see. Have you ever heard of Chris Weidman?
Yeah, that's a big one you should have heard of. Wasn't there Chris Weidman Day? Or week?
No, I never
Chris
heard of
Weidman is from Baldwin High School and Hofstra University. He was an All-American for Hofstra in wrestling.
it. Yeah.
Then he got into mixed martial arts. Well, first he started doing grappling, which is jiu-jitsu. And I think he took second place at the World Championships. It's called the ADCC, Abu Dhabi Championships. It's submission only. So it's kind of like in wrestling, like you have to pin someone or you don't win.
Oh, okay.
But
you
in
know
that,
he
it's
was-
submission only.
Did you know he was pulled from UFC 199?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I told you Bisping is getting the title shot, and you seem to not care. I thought you liked him.
I do. I just...
Not anymore.
No, I think you just caught me at a moment of, like, I was packing the car.
Yeah, probably. So Chris Weidman, so he takes second place at the World Championships. Then he gets into MMA, and he's undefeated up until he wins the championship. When he wins the championship, he beat a Brazilian who hadn't been beaten in 10 years.
Wow.
He had to beat him twice. He beats him, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, the Brazilian was it was a fluke punch." And then he fights him again, and he's winning. He wins the first round. Second round, the Brazilian, his name is Silva. He goes to kick Weidman. Weidman checks it with his knee. Brazilian breaks his leg.
He pulls a Steve.
Ooh, yeah, Steve Palumbo.
He
Yep.
pulls a Steve Palumbo on national television.
Oh my
so.
God.
Now, the interesting thing about Weidman is he was living in his parents' basement in South Shore, Long Island, probably Belmore or something, when that big storm hit. Remember the one
Yeah.
that took out Uncle Gary's boat? His basement, his parents' basement gets flooded. That weekend, he wins a world championship.
Wow. Compensation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he bought a house around here.
Wow.
So he probably lives like
Somewhere
around the
here?
block from here.
Yeah, someday we're going to go, like, stalking.
The other thing about Weidman, and this one you might have heard. This might have made news around here.
I think it did.
What? Are you talking about the lady in distress?
No, I'm talking about, like, after his win. They literally
Oh
did,
yeah,
like,
they had a
this
big
month.
parade for him.
They did, like, a
Yeah?
parade, and
Yeah.
they made, like, a whole, like, day or week or something of the township was, like, dedicated to him.
Really?
This happened about a year ago, where he helped some lady. I don't know if she knocked on his door because, like, I don't know, like she had a car accident or something, but like she's bleeding profusely.
She just happened to knock on his
Yeah, and like so he goes and he helps her, and like she survived, but like she would have bled out.
Oh wow! So
Like
he
after evaluation,
saved
they're
her.
like, oh yeah, you would have bled out if nobody helped you, and turns out it's him. So, but I mean that happened around here.
Oh,
So
I
don't
don't
know.
remember
Maybe,
hearing anything about that.
yeah, you got to go on
And
Facebook.
no offense, but what do you call it? If that happened around here, somebody would have.
Would've
People
told you?
talk all about news and this and that at work. I would have heard something.
Okay, let's see who
I'm
else.
surprised you haven't.
No, how long ago was this?
I think this was about a year ago.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of Chael Sonnen?
No, who's that?
He's my favorite fighter, and he's retired.
No.
But he's from Oregon. He was an All-American wrestler. He was actually an alternate for the Greco-Roman Olympic team.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's see.
Greco-Roman. Do you ever hear from McLaughlin?
A little bit. I know his kids are getting bigger.
Yeah.
They're like high school age now.
Yeah.
How about Rich Franklin?
Rich Franklin. No.
He's a math teacher from Ohio that
Oh yeah.
became a world champion fighter.
No, I never heard of that.
Let's see. The guy I mentioned before, Chuck Liddell, he was an accountant before he became a world champion
Oh
fighter.
my
I
God.
cannot picture.
What are these
bringing
people?
He'll get you those fucking tax breaks, baby.
Yeah, right.
Why do they switch over?
Passion, baby.
No.
Well, Rich Franklin is now the vice president of another fight promotion that's based out of Singapore, and they're huge in the Asian markets. But they also go into countries that, they probably fight in mud pits, and they get their fighters and they put them in a promotion like this. Except in that one, you're allowed to soccer kick people's heads if they're
Everybody needs
down.
money.
Let's see.
But it's different there too. Like it's
It's part of their
to me-
culture.
Well, yeah. Like to me, from the outside, like it definitely seems much more that the Asian styles definitely seem much more akin to like professional wrestling, like with the show and like
Yeah.
the mask. Like I've seen guys come out in like masks
Yeah.
and it's,
Genki Sudo.
I don't know.
What did I tell you? He had a degree in performing arts or something.
Yeah, or like that one girl
He was
that,
ridiculous.
that you were saying was coming to fight for the UFC, and we were looking it up, and like it was all these like modeling pictures and stuff, but not like
Oh, really?
it was odd. it was not what you would typically see an American female fighter doing,
Right.
modeling.
Was that Rin Nakai, where she came out in the prom dress?
Yes, yeah, like all of
She's
that.
Japanese, so she.
She fights in like Wonder Woman outfits and like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you would never see Ronda Rousey do that. I don't think. I don't know. I'm not Ronda Rousey's publicist, so.
Well, Batman vs Superman just came out, so we'll see. How about Uriah Faber? Have you ever heard of him?
What's his name?
Uriah Faber?
No. Nope.
Let's see.
Uriah Faber's out of California, and their team was looking for a coach, and it was before Frank got his promotion. So I tried to talk Frank into putting in an application.
Yeah, I was going to move out to Sacramento.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, that's all you need.
I told him I didn't think you would mind.
Look at this guy.
How about Matt Serra? He's from around here.
Matt Serra.
Yeah, Frank
Matt
goes
the
to
Terror
his,
Serra.
Frank's gone to his gym when we've come down before. What gym
It
did-
sounds familiar, but I don't think I would know the person.
What gym did you take the guys to? I ask you this every time
We
come down.
we did go to Sarah's gym,
Okay.
but we went, and there were no classes in the immediate
Yeah.
future, for the rest of the afternoon or whatever. But I took him over to Long Island Mixed Martial Arts.
Yes. And that's where that guy, you had worked with the guy there before, and he was cool.
Yeah, Di Pasquale. I know you know this person. You don't know that you know him, but I know that you know him.
And what's his name?
It's Greg?
What am I, your bookkeeper?
Yeah, well,
Greg who?
you're the producer who Googles everything when the host is talking.
What's the gym name?
Long Island Mixed Martial Arts, or LIMMA.
Okay. I should know this because I've spent
I want to
so
say
much time,
Greg.
like looking for gyms for you, but
I want to say it's Greg DePasquale. Okay,
Greg.
here's a flashback to 1997,
Okay.
where we go to Huntington for dual meet.
Greg, yep. Oh, sugar.
What, you mean when you were in
I was in high school.
high school and the,
We changed-
Amada?
Huh?
Amada?
Amada.
Can we
You
just
said Huntington.
Huntington, yeah. Gianni.
Oh, okay, but you got an award from.
Can we just talk about how this guy's face looks like Cruz?
Yeah. We can talk about that. Go ahead. Who? Salvador Cruz, Brockport All-American?
Yeah. I mean, it's not Cruz.
Dropping
but
names, folks.
It's not, but in that particular picture, that guy looks like him, I think. Just in this one.
So, Greg
This is the guy.
DePasquale.
Greg.
This guy?
No, that guy's the one who looks like Cruz in this picture, but this is the DePasquale that Frank's talking about.
He wrestled Chris Galvez.
No, that doesn't ring.
Well, do you
a bell.
remember my match that night? That's the important part.
The important one.
The one in Huntington?
Yeah.
In Gianni's school.
Yes. Huntington.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that you got an award there. And
Yeah, but that was for like a middle school tournament.
Oh, she might know this name.
But
Yeah, well, who
Joe
would-
Amira was a county champ when I was when I was in like 8th grade or something.
And I have a picture of him giving you the award.
Yeah. I don't know that person.
I don't know.
Let's see. So anyway, this guy Greg DePasquale owns this gym, and there's a bunch of fighters. There's a bunch of wrestlers from the area that train there. Ryan LaFleur. He was a Hofstra guy. Let's see, Chris Wade from Islip. I think he was on Luke or Tom's team when they were at Islip. Ooh,
Hey,
who was the wrestling coach at West for a
I feel
while?
like this guy was an assistant coach when I told you that. This guy was like an
Petrovich.
Petrovich, yeah.
Yeah, he trains there. Well,
I don't know who's there.
When they were looking for a full-time coach, I feel like he was one of the assistant coaches.
he has his classes over there. You know Chris Wade?
No.
I think he was supposed to fight Lenny Baker.
Oh,
Oh, really? You ever hear from Lenny?
Yeah, I talked to him for a while at the high school states.
How's his father?
Good, he's good.
Oh, yeah?
Dennis Bermudez.
Dennis Bermudez was a Lindenhurst kid.
Bermudez.
NCAA
That's
Division
familiar.
I wrestler. A college freestyle All-American.
Bermudez. That sounds familiar.
He was on season 1
Season 1?
of
Season
Ultimate
14?
Fighter.
Season 14? Season 1 was Forrest Griffin and
Yeah.
Kenny Florian.
What season did
Tom Murphy?
Tom Murphy do?
Tom Murphy was season 2. I don't think you know Tom Murphy. Tom Murphy was a Brockport wrestler. And there was Rashad Evans, who's a Niagara wrestler. He wound up going to Michigan State. But he was at like the Brockport Open.
Oh, really?
Do you remember Jamal, who was on our team?
Jamal, yeah.
Yeah, Jamal was wrestling this Rashad Evans and pins him. And everyone's like, oh yeah, that guy Rashad Evans, he's freaking good. And Jamal goes out and pins him. And I'm like, he ain't that good. Jamal freaking owned him. And they're like, yeah, he got kind of lucky. So then like I started hearing about Rashad Evans in the UFC. He was a world champion at one time.
What year was Jamal there? I feel like I have met him. Have I met him?
Probably. I don't know.
Do you remember when you walked into Brockport wrestling room?
When I went there?
Yeah.
Like for a tour, or like?
No.
They're doing a lot of the tours at Plattsburgh State now. So when I see them go through, I'm like, oh, I remember when I did my tour at Brockport.
No. What do you call it? I literally demanded that Frank go to Brockport.
He's told me. He has let
That's
me know.
where you're going. You're not going anyplace else.
I know.
And he walks into the wrestling room.
Honestly, though, my mom did her fair. She didn't demand, but my mom did her fair share of like cajoling to get me to go to Brockport.
Well, there wasn't any cajoling. He was going. And what do you call it? I don't know whether I think your coach told me at some point when he used to call me, he'd say,
to go home.
He said to me, he said, do you know what your son said when he walked into my wrestling room? I said, no. He goes, I don't want to be here. My mother made me come.
I definitely didn't say it like that.
That sounds like Luigi. That sounds exactly like Luigi.
No, I liked it as soon as I got there.
Yeah, after a while.
I just couldn't decide. So when you decided for me, I was like,
all right.
well, now at least I can blame her.
You know what? I make decisions for him too. So. He just doesn't always like them as much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything. I'll get in trouble later.
Well, you were always good when you were a kid.
Like well behaved?
Yes. He was well behaved. Even if he went out with his friends, he'd come back like a little early, and I said, how come you're here early? And he'd say to me, oh, I had to be the driver because everybody else was drinking.
Yeah, that was all true.
And what was the lie?
I didn't come home early.
Yeah, you did.
No, I
He
didn't.
stopped home early.
No, I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I used to sometimes come home.
Yes, you did.
And then
come
go
home
back out.
Why? Why even bother coming home?
Because she wanted me home at like 11. So I'm like, all right, it's like 10:30. She'd be like, all right. And then she'd...
Like a lot of effort to like be
Well, no,
back.
it was because we didn't actually go out. Like, that was like I wasn't drinking at the time, but that would be the equivalent of like pre-gaming. So it's like we're hanging out from, say, lunchtime, right? You hang out with your friends like all day and all night.
Yeah.
So I'd come home around like 10 o'clock and she'd be like, oh, you're home. Well, I'm going to bed, and then I'd get ready and take a shower and go out.
You just didn't let her know that was happening next.
I was not going to put her in a position to worry.
Worry. You know what I did to your sister?
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
I didn't
Let
put
me
up
get
with
the
a lot of
microphone.
No, we need
Just
to
put
hear
the
this
microphone
story 'cause,
close.
Close that microphone.
Frank jokes about putting bars on Brenna's windows and stuff.
No, I said we were going to turn the knobs backwards.
Yeah, but what about the windows?
Bars on the windows, but not on the doors.
Didn't you tell me like your brother used to like sneak out the windows and stuff?
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that. I think he would just come downstairs, walk out the front door quietly.
Now, let me tell you, not many times, okay, that they walk out the front door. You see how the upstairs is situated?
Yeah.
Okay. That was the best thing that we ever did was buy that house. Because all of them, when they were coming or going, we could hear them and we could see them going down those stairs.
Yeah.
So, not many times. I think your idiot brother had a couple of girls come over here. And
What?
I was so freaking tired. I was so tired, okay, that I said, all right, I'm going to bed. And I said, Stephen, I said,
Y'all gotta leave.
These girls are, there was two girls here. And I said, these girls, their parents are coming to pick them up, right? Oh, yeah, Ma, they're coming to pick them up. Okay. I'm just about dozing off. And he comes upstairs and says, oh, Mom, listen, we have a problem. I said, what? He goes, those girls called a taxi. I go, a taxi at 12 o'clock at night? So I had to call they were in high school, but like, ninth grade or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm saying, I thought the parents were going to come pick them up. They said, yeah, that their parents, what do you call it?
Don't be mad.
Their parents were, so like he was even worried that they would take a taxi.
Steve was a perfect gentleman.
So I had to call the parents and find out if they got home all right.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
So you let them go in the cab?
I didn't know until after they left. I thought the parent came to pick them up.
How'd you get the phone numbers for the parents?
I asked Stephen for the numbers.
How does Stephen know them?
Well, he knows them.
Well, yeah, this is before cell phones. So.
All right, that's it. That's all you get for now. Anyway, so I really like my mom's perspective on the whole mixed martial arts. It's very grounded. It's very domestic, and it's just I have very good memories when I talk to her about friends from high school and people I've wrestled and people that she knows. The whole thing with Nick Ackerman, the wrestler from Simpson, Iowa, who won the Dan Hodge Award. I mean, absolutely incredible story, and I hadn't thought about it in a really long time. So it's things like that. I'm really glad that I was able to record that and put it on, and I hope you enjoy it. Now, onto some local mixed martial arts. Now, to recap, May 14th was Victory Combat Sports Can-Am Championships, so I just want to run through that card real quick. So there were 13 fights on this card, one no contest. AJ Tully wins in the second round with a guillotine against Gafar Adams. That was that Masters match that John Gibbons was talking about. Bobby Sullivan defeats Dominic Gildersleeve in the heavyweight championship bout. Corey Bohall defeats Randy Felian in the middleweight title bout. Kevin Woodward defeats Jordan Turner. That was the welterweight. That went to a unanimous decision. And in the main event, Andre Belcaris takes the Victory Cage Fighting Championship belt, defeating Sean Crump, second round TKO. So congrats to Andre Belcaris. He takes that. That's a featherweight bout. And he's got another title fight coming up in Whitehall pretty soon. So I'll get to that when I hit the calendar. But I heard that was an excellent event. So congrats to John Gibbons on that. A successful event. And I can't wait for the next one. There is another one that was scheduled August 20th. I know that John is looking for fighters for that one. So you can contact him. I'll put his contact info in my show notes. Of course, you can always go back and listen to the John Gibbons episode as well. Extreme Combat had their show on the 21st at Rouse's Point Civic Center. I was very sorry to miss that one. I had a couple of buddies on the card there. I see Steve Zakarikis jumped in. He got a win first round. I believe it was a submission. I watched the video. I should know it. Then big shout out to my buddy Cody Allen. He picked up a win. Second round TKO there. He should be fighting for a belt here pretty soon at the bantamweight division. So I know that was a contender bout. Congrats to Cody. A couple of grappling matches. Andrew Provost came back. He was able to squeak out a decision over Mike DeRozier. Looked like a good, interesting bout on film there. TJ George, he grappled a buddy of mine, Dakota Jagir from Plattsburgh. He was able to get the heel hook submission. And, yeah, breaking news, so something just happened with TJ. He got hurt at work. If I read it right, his finger got cut off, or the tip of his finger. So I hope TJ's doing well. Good luck to you, buddy. And who else? David Weintraub, the 125-pound champ. He goes and grapples Nick Prenovo, who's usually a welterweight. Prenovo drops to lightweight. His opponent, Dylan Bishop, rumor has it, stabbed on Friday night. Totally perpetuating a rumor here. But, that's a little messed up. So Weintraub is there. He jumps in, gets a grappling match, and he's able to out-grapple Prenovo, who is Prenovo is a fine grappler. I know from experience he's very, very good. So congrats to Weintraub pulling out that win. I was disappointed to see that the Trahan-LePage match didn't happen. I was really looking forward to that one. I thought that was going to be an excellent fight. So I hope that does get to put together in the future. And that brings us to this weekend, Memorial Day weekend. So I know that there's cage combat going on in Saratoga. Steve Zacharikis is going to headline this one, unless anything has changed. So that's going to be a fight for the troops. Cage combat, excellent promotion, always good local Albany area fighters. Very, very nice venue there at the Saratoga City Center. You know, it's kind of like a hall where every time people, shout and cheer, it just echoes through the place. So I encourage you to check that out. Cage Combat Fight for the Troops. Bobby Lashley will be there as a special guest. So if you're interested in tickets on that, you can call. I'll give you the number, 518-307-3516. I'll also put that in my show notes. And to the big stage, UFC has a fight on Fox Sports 1 on Sunday, the 29th. And this is a very stacked card for Fox Sports. On the Fight Pass prelims, you got Aljamain Sterling, who's ranked number 4 at bantamweight. And I think with this win, he'll get a title shot. He's fighting against Brian Caraway, who, of course, is Miesha Tate's boyfriend. Good fighter. He's ranked number 8. But, come on, he's kind of... his girlfriend's a UFC champ. Also, the Fox Sports 1 prelims, Sarah McMahon is fighting Jessica Ai. Then on the main card, you got Berkman versus Felder. And Felder is, I think he's 0-2 in the UFC. But, this guy's a fantastic fighter. He's so entertaining. After that, we got Masvidal and Larkin. Both of those guys are very good strikers. That'll be a good, entertaining bout. Then you got Tarek Saffiedine, who's the last Strikeforce welterweight champ before he got pulled over to the UFC. He's fighting Rick Story. Saffiedine is a very good kickboxer. His cardio has been suspect in the past. After that, the co-main, which I think should probably be the main event, is Renan Barão versus Jeremy Stephens, and that's Barão's first fight at featherweight. And it's a tough task because Jeremy Stephens is a freaking world beater. So we're going to see how Barão does moving up and coming back. I think he's had enough time off that he'll perform well. And then the main event is Thomas Almeida versus Cody Garbrandt. Almeida is ranked 7th at bantamweight, and Garbrandt is unranked. So you got bantamweights on the prelims, the Fight Pass prelims. If there's no other reason to get Fight Pass, you get it to watch Aljamain Sterling fight. He's ranked number 4. Caraway's ranked number 8. And that's the Fight Pass prelims. And then the main event, you got Almeida, who's ranked 7th, fighting in the main event. So I don't know, that doesn't really make much sense to me. Probably the Sterling Caraway should be main event. And then Barão Stephens, co-main. But still, you got Tarek Saffiedine and Rick Story. Those are great fighters. Anyway, that's on Fox Sports. On Sunday, set your DVR. 9 p.m., I guess. What else? Moving down the list here. Let's check the calendar. So after this weekend, we got June 4th, Extreme Combat in Barrie. Then July 2nd, Extreme Combat, St. Albans. And then on June 11th, we got Whitehall Athletic Club. That's the one I mentioned earlier. Andre Belcaris is fighting for the bantamweight title there. We also have Coliseum Fighting Alliance that same night. The following weekend, Extreme Combat Rutland. August 6th, Extreme Combat Williamstown, Vermont. Then August 20th, Victory Cage Fighting has their Northeast MMA Championships. That's in Watertown. That's the one that John Gibbons runs. Then we go into September with Extreme Combat Lyndonville and back again at Rouse's Point on the 10th. And that's as far out as my calendar goes. But, lots to watch and lots of competitive opportunities if you're a fighter. I hope to get out to a lot of these. I'm on an every other weekend work schedule. It's non-negotiable. So I'd like to get out to most of these, if not half of them. I will be doing, sneak peeks and results as I get them for each and every one of these cards, especially the local ones. The one I didn't mention is Bellator 156. It's on June 17th. I mentioned this one because here's a guy I've mentioned before on the show. His name is Marcus Loro Galvo. He's the bantamweight champion in Bellator, and he's in a rematch against Eduardo Dantes. I had met Galvo within my first year of fighting down in New York City, and what a help the guy was. He was very humble and just a super nice guy. So I'll never forget just training with a guy of this caliber. With the first 6 months that I started training, so it was a very cool experience for me, and I'm really pulling for him to defend his belt against Dantes. Now this is a rematch, and it was supposed to happen last month, and it kind of fell apart there. I think that the night before, I think Dantes came down ill, so the fight got scratched. So it's here again, main event, June 6th, Marcus Loro Galvo.
Looking. Okay, I found something on the web for here again, main event. Take a look.
What are you talking about? I gotta disable Siri again. No, nothing. I don't know. That was weird. Well, anyway, I invite you to like my Facebook page, PCS MMA on Facebook. I've been sharing a lot of cool stuff lately, particularly this video from TriStar, the TriStar YouTube channel with Faraz Zahabi. That's GSP's coach. He read a book called The Toughest Man Who Ever Lived, and it's about the man who taught the Gracies jiu-jitsu back in the day. He taught Elio Gracie and his other brothers. So check out this video. I'll put a link in the show notes. Check it out on TriStar. The video is from somewhere around January, but I just watched it the other day and shared it. So like my Facebook page, and then check out the YouTube channel. I'm also on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. PCS MMA for all of them. Check them out. If you have any feedback on the show, rate it on iTunes and you write something up. Let me know what you think. That's going to do it for me this week. Hope you enjoyed listening to me and my mom just chit-chat about wrestling and everything else. I figured everyone's got a mom. Everyone can kind of relate. So hope you enjoyed it. And next week, I'm going to have the Coliseum Fighting Alliance light heavyweight title challenger, Corey Reynolds, on the show. So I'm going to talk to him tomorrow. I'll get the podcast out by probably Monday leading up to Coliseum Fighting Alliance on June 11th. I also have a couple of guys from TriStar that I may be getting on the podcast. I'm going to head up to Montreal on Friday and see if I can catch up with them and get a little podcast, a little workout. And these guys both defended their belt at Fight Quest, that I went to a couple of weeks back, just south of Montreal. He's like right over the border. So I'm going to see if these guys want to, maybe come on over and fight in some of the upstate New York promotions. Fantastic fighters by the name of Eric Caolo and Zachariah Ben Buchta. So hopefully I'll be getting those guys, but I will keep you guys updated. All right? Now I'm going to leave you with a little bit more of the conversation with my mom, Nancy Palumbo. So enjoy. Until next time. Ciao, Littatori.
So I go over and I'm pulling the door and somebody on the other side is holding it. I said, Steve, who's in there? He goes, Mom, nobody's there. I said, somebody's holding the door.
The door seems to be stuck.
Plausible deniability.
So I
can't see her. She must not be
So I said, okay, who's ever in there, I'm going to count to 3. I don't care what you're wearing or what you're not wearing.